In a nation built on freedom, why does medicine feel like a trap? Americans are overprescribed, overbilled, and overlooked. Sickness is profitable. Healing, not so much. For decades, we've been funneled into a system that doesn't cure, it controls. A system where every symptom is met with another pill. A system that keeps patients dependent and doctors silent. But that ends now. Welcome to the GoldCare Townhall, the Declaration of Medical Independence. A revealing examination of how modern healthcare became a cartel and how GoldCare stands as the complete opposite. This town hall features the stories and strategies they don't want public. John Rich, country music patriot and cultural icon, shares how he escaped the trap of profit-driven medicine and found doctors who actually listen, heal, and put patients first. Dr. Brian Tyson brings real-world experience treating over 7,000 patients with personalized care and time-tested protocols, proving that medicine works when profit isn't the primary motive. Dr. Gold reveals how sick care replaced healthcare and how GoldCare is building the antidote, ethical, truth-based medicine rooted in freedom, not pharma profits. Your medical independence starts here, not next year, not someday, now. This is the night you flipped the script. This is the moment the system started to crack. This is when medical freedom stopped being an idea and became a movement. You've taken your seat. Now let the truth speak for itself. GoldCare, built for you, powered by freedom, trusted by thousands.
Welcome to GoldCare Medical Town Hall, and thank you so much for coming tonight. This evening, we're joined by country music singer and songwriter John Rich. He's a fearless patriot, hitmaker, and entrepreneur, winner of Celebrity Apprentice, and champion for faith, family, and freedom. Also joining us is Dr. Brian Tyson. He is one of America's most courageous and effective physicians, known for his no-nonsense approach to the early COVID treatment and patient-first care, treating over 7,000 patients during the COVID era. Our moderator tonight is Dr. Simone Gold, founder and CEO of GoldCare. This July, we're not celebrating just freedom, we're reclaiming it. America is sick, and not just from disease, but from the system that profits from it. We've been overprescribed, underinformed, and trapped in a cycle of pharmaceutical dependency. It's time to say enough. The discussion tonight will be a powerful, uncensored town hall as we expose how sick care hijacked real healthcare and how to break free. You'll learn what the legacy healthcare system won't tell you and discover a new path built on truth, not tyranny. Do you want more than just answers? Then let today be your declaration of medical independence. Becoming a GoldCare member isn't just about doctor's appointments. It's about joining a completely different healthcare platform based on truth, transparency, and total access. As a member, you'll get things like real doctors who actually listen, no corporate talking points, no gatekeeping. You'll get Wellness U, our exclusive on-demand educational portal that puts you in control of your own health journey. You also have access to the GoldCare Med Packs, fast, freedom-focused medication solutions delivered right to your doorstep. And you'll be a part of a nationwide community of informed, faith-aligned members taking back their health and their sovereignty. Now, this is the critical part. There's a link you can click right here in the title of tonight's live stream, goldcare.com/JohnRich. This link is your instant access to GoldCare, right now at no cost to you with no obligation. Click it and sign up right now in about 30 seconds, and John will graciously take care of your first month of membership. You can freely cancel anytime, but we're confident you'll agree GoldCare is a must-have subscription. To sweeten the pot even further, we are celebrating freedom all month, and we are offering 50% off all provider appointments on the GoldCare platform. That's right, 50% off all appointments. It's important you understand that we don't profit off your pain, and this month, we're proving it to you. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our moderator, Dr. Simone Gold.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it is July 4th. That is why we're doing medical independence this month. And I'm so happy, couldn't be happier to have two fierce patriots with us tonight. Everybody, of course, knows John Rich, and everybody will now be delighted to get to know Dr. Brian Tyson, who is a very early independent physician who just did what he thought needed to be done, the right care for patients early on in the pandemic. So I want to start with John Rich. I have to say the last name because that's how I think of you, as John Rich, which is it's really the revolution. You talk so much, in your life and in your work about patriotism and the revolution and freedom and the Constitution and all of that. So really, I often think, like you, like, what was the 1776 revolution about? And how does that relate to our revolution, or like medical independence today? What we saw, Dr. Tyson and myself saw, was that the masses of Americans were controlled, absolutely controlled. They were controlled by fear, and they were literally controlled by doctors not telling them truthful things. And if you could get a doctor to tell you something truthful, the pharmacist's corporate employer would prevent the doctors doing what the doctors are supposed to do, which is to diagnose and to treat. So I know that if you have medical tyranny, you're never going to have freedom. That's the problem. And I'm just wondering from you, non-medical, like freedom, medical freedom. For me, it's the same. But how does this feel to you as a patriot, like what we went through during COVID and the tyranny?
Well, first of all, I would say thank you to you, Dr. Gold. You've become a hero to millions of Americans who learned about you during COVID. Watching you stand out there on stages and take the hits, take the incoming, take the criticism, take the whiplash that came from your own industry that you spent your whole life mastering and becoming great at. So first of all, thank you to you. I was a fan of yours and a follower of yours way before we ever talked. I was following what you were saying because I knew you were telling the truth to people. So to get to your question, yeah, let's think about what they did to us. So anybody watching this live stream right now, the first thing I want to ask you to do, if you're watching this, hit repost on this live stream. Just look at your phone, look at your laptop, give me a repost. We want as many people as possible to hear about this conversation tonight, because I promise you, each and every one of you have experienced the same thing I went through. America went through it together. So hit that repost button. I'm not sure there is a more communist tactic that you could deploy on a population than, number one, unleashing a virus on them that we're now learning was gain of function, done illegally. All of that's now starting to come out. That's number one. But then number two, after you allow that to happen to your population, then you decide, you know what? We're going to determine what medicine you can take. Yeah, I know you want to take ivermectin and you want to take hydroxychloroquine and you want to take zinc and you want to take vitamin C, but no, that's not approved by us. And you think to yourself, who's us? Who's us? I'm looking at my TV going, who the hell these people think they are? Who's telling me what medicine I can take in the United States of America? So you start looking into it and you find out, oh, they want us to take these particular medications because they're expensive and they're owned by big pharma, and you have to go through your doctor to get your hands on it. You can't just go down there and buy a bottle of it. So they're steering you almost like cattle into a choke point. So they steered the American public, including me, into a choke point. That's a tactic people use in war. Is they will take who they would consider the enemy and they will force them into a corridor where they can control them. And that's really what they did. They declared war on the American public with these tactics. So then they channel us in here and they say, okay, you have to take this medicine. No, you can't have that. And by the way, if you try to go around us as your doctors who are getting paid by big pharma to sell you this big bunch of nonsense, if you try to go around us and you try to go to Walgreens or you try to go to Eckerd's or you try to go to pick one, we've also, by the way, got them on the hook and they're not even going to prescribe it. And I remember when I learned about that part, I thought, well, my God, is ivermectin a narcotic? I mean, is there something about hydrochloroquine I don't know about? I remember my grandfather, who was a World War II veteran, talking about taking hydroxychloroquine in World War II in the Pacific, where he was a tunnel rat over there fighting the Japanese to keep them all from getting what's the
Malaria.
virus? Yellow fever. Yeah, malaria. And so he said, we took one every single day to keep from getting malaria, because he said, I don't know how it worked, but none of us hardly ever got malaria. So I'm thinking, well, there's billions of people that have taken these drugs over many, many, many decades, and they're all still alive and kicking. So why are we not allowed to have that again? Here's what happened. A great awakening happened in America. People on the left, people on the right, people in the middle. There was nothing political about it. People are going, wait a minute, I don't like it. And then to make matters worse, the final blow is they say, if you want to keep your job, if you want to fly on an airplane, if you want to, do anything in our country, if you want to leave the house in some states, now you have to take this vaccine that nobody knows what
Right.
it does. Nobody knows what it does either. But if you don't take it, by God, you ain't going to be able to live your life very well.
Yeah.
So think about that. I know that seems like a long time ago. That was like that. That was not long ago. That was very recent. And so when I ran across GoldCare, Dr. Gold, when you told me the platform you had built, that in the future, if this ever happens again, and it might, depending on who's running the country, you wanted to have a backstop where you had this whole litany of doctors like Dr. Tyson and many others who you could literally go online and say, hey, I want this, I want this, I want that. Here's my symptoms. Here's what I've got. And you guys would actually take care of them. So what will get me up on a live stream right now on the evening on a work day is this conversation, because Americans need to know that there is an option like GoldCare out there.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate you early on recognizing the connection between medical freedom and freedom in general. For sure. I'll never forget that Fauci on the stand in January of 24 literally said they caught him on audio. They played it on the stand. He didn't say it on the stand, but he said you'd have to go do this thing. And if they restrict your jobs and they restrict your life, you will forget your ideological bull, right? So he actually said that, like, he made the connection. It's very, very clear. And my answer to that is we are never again, ever going to be in a situation as Americans that we don't have the freedom and that we're hijacked by fear. And I met Dr. Tyson very early in this fight. And, I understand to most of you listening tonight that I am perhaps more familiar to you than Dr. Tyson, but Dr. Tyson is a full-on, flat-out hero in the medical space, no doubt about it. I think really, Brian, that you've treated the more numbers of COVID patients really than kind of anyone. He doesn't really actually matter the exact number, but you're absolutely a hero. He said he looked at the situation like absolutely not. So one of my questions, Dr. Tyson, is why is the fact that the system's so corrupted, why is that such a problem for the average person? I mean, you and I know that it could kill you. The system can kill you. We know that it can restrict the nation. But in your perspective, how big a problem is this for the average person?
So I think what we need to look at, and I think we've talked about this before, which is corporate practice of medicine versus medical independence. Okay, before the advent of the HMO, the Managed Healthcare Organization, physicians functioned independently. We had many independent practices. Most physicians were on their own. There was none of this group participation practice. There was none of this shared practice. There was none of this hospital medicine practice. It was all physician-run independence. And then the HMO industry was invented to, quote, share, to save costs, is what they was brought in for. And what they did was they allowed business to take over and start buying up practices. And when they started buying up practices, then it became a profit margin industry instead of a healthcare industry. So it went from healthcare to health business. And that's how I've always seen it since the 80s. Is it's been a health business for corporations to make billions and billions of dollars. When you look at how much money we spend in healthcare versus any other country in the world, yet we still have the sickest population of people. That wasn't the case in the 60s. That wasn't the case in the 70s. It only started in the 80s and 90s when physicians got locked up into restraints on what they were told they can do and what they couldn't do, rather than what they wanted to do. And I think that that's a big distinction people need to make.
Right.
Corporate medicine versus medical independence.
So I don't know if you've heard me say this, but in my father's day, everyone knows my dad was a doctor. My father's day, doctors were independent. Probably 90%, if not more, doctors own their own small practice, their own small business. And that's the world I grew up in. And then I go to medical school and residency, and doctors my age are old enough to have remembered how it was. But again, in my case, I actually grew up with it. But it transitioned essentially in the 90s. And it became, now it's the opposite. Now only about 10% of doctors are independent. 90% of doctors are actually paid by some kind of corporate employer. It could be a large hospital chain. It could almost essentially be an insurance company like Kaiser, but they're not practicing independently. And then during COVID, we saw what they did. If it was the decision between what was best for the patient or best for their own paycheck, they chose their paycheck 9 times out of 10. This is why this is so critical. And doctors, as you mentioned, Brian, doctors are not paid to keep people healthy. So one of the things that I wanted to change now that I had this opportunity, I said, how do we do it in America compared to other places? Well, in old traditional Chinese societies, it's going to be news to people. People pay the doctor when they're well. They pay their doctor when they're well. And when they get sick, they don't pay the doctor.
Are you serious?
I am completely serious. That's traditional Chinese societies, and it's spread actually to now Japanese societies. I'm not saying that's official policy in the nations, but that is absolutely traditional Chinese under Tao and under Confucian models. And I'm proud to tell you what Drew announced at the top of this, which is we believe in this so strongly. We believe in getting you well and working to having you best. And we have medical doctors and we have naturopathic doctors, but we're putting our money where like our mouth is so that you know that we are for real. And for the whole month of July, we're essentially giving you doctor visits 50%. We're basically doing it at cost because we want to show you that there's a whole different way of doing this and that we want to flip everything upside down. So I just wanted to just not forget to say this. And so John, what is like, how important do you think this is? Like, or what do you think people should do to like declare the medical independence? I mean, you saw the light early, right? But what do you hope other people do? And what are the benefits to you of becoming more independent medically?
Well, so I'm a member of GoldCare. My wife is a member of GoldCare. Our whole family is a member of it. I remember asking you about it. I said, so, okay, what's GoldCare? And you were telling me what it was. And I said, how much is it? And you said, for one person, it's $10 a month, or for the whole family, it's $20 a month, correct?
Correct.
Right. So $20 a month. I said, I'll do the $20 a month deal. So I signed up. I've now been a member for about a year or so. I can tell you that as recently as 3 weeks ago, my wife set up 2 appointments. What's so cool about GoldCare is, let's say, well, I'll use myself as an example. So when I was in my early 20s, out there running the roads, doing about 150 to 175 cities a year with a band called Lone Star. I mean, I was all over the place and healthy as a horse. I mean, you can't pull that many shows if you're not healthy as a horse. Plus, I was in my early 20s. But I was going to the doctor, getting my annual physical, and I got this new doctor, and he did my blood work, and he goes, oh, my God, your cholesterol numbers are out of control. I said, my cholesterol numbers? I'm 23 years old. He goes, whatever. Look at these numbers. Look at your LDL, man. That is way outside of what it's supposed to be. He said, are you eating like steak and eggs every day or something? I said, no. He said, have you changed anything in your diet? I said, no. He said, then you must have hereditary high cholesterol. And I said, nobody in my family's died of heart attacks. He goes, well, I'm just telling you, we need to put you on a statin. And I went, what's that going to do? He said, well, he said, we'll put you on a 20 milligram statin, take it every night before you go to bed. He said that'll crush that LDL and that'll get your numbers under control. So from the age of 23 to 50, I'm 51 now, I took a statin religiously every single night before I went to bed. Okay. When you get into your 40s, you're going, man, why is my elbow hurting? Why is my knee hurting? I mean, I'm in good shape. What's going on here? I start researching statins and finding out, oh yeah, it's killing all kinds of things that cholesterol is meant to do for your body. You're crushing this, including your brain. I mean, it's really, really bad unless you're in a real serious situation. And so I thought, I wonder if I should just get off this stupid statin. And so I went on GoldCare.com and I looked up cardiologists, and there was like, I don't even know how many doctors. And then I started reading their profiles on your website on GoldCare.com. And I found this lady, and one of her things was statins. Like, she had really studied it. So I said, I'm going to book an appointment with her. So I clicked the button, set up an appointment for the next day. I set up a 30-minute appointment with her, and I had a whole list of questions I'd written down for her. And at the end of the 30 minutes, I had answers from her. And then I went back to my regular doctor, my yearly doctor, and I said, hey, are you aware of all this information right here? Look at this, look at this, look at this, look at this study. Look what they found out here. Look what it's doing to people. I've been on this crap since I was 23 years old. I said, I'm not taking any more statins. And he went, hang on a minute. I said, no, you hang on a minute. I said, I'm not taking it anymore. He said, well, let's see what your numbers do in 6 months. I'll be curious to see it. Well, guess what? They went right back up to where they had been when I was 23 years old. So then he goes, let's go get you a calcium score, meaning let's send you in and let's look and see if anything's going on in there. And my calcium score comes back as 0. Absolutely 0. He said, you have he said, your cardiac system or whatever. He said, you might as well be 18 years old. There's literally nothing in there. I said, then I'm not taking statins. I'm not taking them. And I will tell you what happened, Dr. Gold, after about 4 or 5 months of not taking statins. Thoughts felt clear, energy went up. Those spots in my joints that would hurt when I'd work out and stuff, that went away. Like all kinds of just odd things I was feeling are gone. And I don't plan on going back on statins. Okay. Now I'll still go get my heart checked out and we'll still make sure everything's cool. But that's an example of something I would have never gotten that answer or that intel from my regular doctor. You're not going to find it on the internet. I had to sit with one of your doctors on GoldCare and ask the questions. And she said, it's your call what you want to do, John, but here's the most recent studies. And yes, you are correct about this. And if it was me, I would consider coming off of it and seeing how you're feeling. That's just one example. I've had 4 meetings. My wife has had 5 in the past year on all different things. What kind of vitamins should we be taking? Is it true that there's cyanide in B complex vitamins and a lot of B complex vitamins? Yes, folks that are watching on the live stream, I said the word cyanide. Is there a cyanide molecule in your vitamin B? I would suggest when you finish watching the live stream, and if you take vitamin B, go look at it and you'll see CYNA and then a bunch of other letters. If that's in there, that's actually a cyanide molecule. And they make vitamin B that doesn't have a cyanide molecule. I learned that from GoldCare.com. I mean, we started going through the vitamin cabinet going trash, trash, trash. I mean, throwing a bunch of this crap away and then going out and finding brands that didn't have that stuff in it. And guess what? Sleeping better, more energy. I have not run a fever now in 1.5 years. And I travel. I play music. I shake 100 hands a night backstage. I have not run a fever in 1.5 years. So I know I'm going on and on here, but I think the people watching this live stream, guys, listen to me. $10 for yourself or $20 for your whole family, and you've got access to an absolute library of doctors like Dr. Tyson, Dr. Gold, and all these other specialists that I'm telling you right now, you will find out something that you have been taking that you'll realize either I don't need to take that or there's a way better alternative than that I can take that's not going to hurt me long term. So sorry to preach, but I'm dead serious, guys. And again, if you're watching this live stream, repost it, hit the button. We're not talking about country music. I'm not on here trying to sell you something. I'm telling you as your friend, as a fellow patriot, this is the real deal. I have been using it. My wife has been using it. My brother, the whole family's on GoldCare now. So I'll stop. But I get fired up about this because it literally has changed the way my day-to-day activities roll and my wife's.
Okay, so first of all, I'm okay with you going on that long because the passion that is driving your words is because you understand it's about freedom. Nothing matters more to a person's individual life really is their health. And then shortly after that is really, can you live in freedom in this country? And we saw so many examples that you couldn't. So John Rich is literally explaining to you how this personally affected him in his life by getting information. The first thing they did during COVID was they gave you propaganda and they gave you disinformation. So you didn't even know which questions to ask. As many people as heard about hydroxychloroquine, there was also half the nation that didn't even hear about the options of early treatment. Dr. Tyson and I are familiar with this. We are both classically trained medical physicians, and there was a slew of information in the naturopathic space that he and I were never taught in medical school. So one of the things I'm so proud that GoldCare does is we put the naturopaths and the medical doctors together. So it's interesting, John, to hear you say that. So you've seen medical doctors and you've seen naturopathic doctors. You actually can't do that in the outside world. I mean, Brian, like, I'm sorry. Right. I mean, Dr. Tyson, right, you can speak to the fact that we medical doctors are not the experts when it comes to things like John was just talking about, the B12 and the vitamins and all of that. And how useful is it to be able to just have a naturopath, as part of your team?
No, I mean, you're right, Simone. And, one of the things I learned through all of the COVID era and building the network that you've built is the fact that we've been able to share information. We've been able to bounce ideas off each other. We've been able to get the best treatments for all sorts of things. I mean, Dr. Fareed now is doing cancer treatment with ivermectin, which I had never heard of before. So the fact that what you're doing with GoldCare in bringing all of this together under one roof, I mean, kudos to you. I mean, this is revolutionary. You're not going to find this anywhere else. You're not going to go to Sharp or Kaiser and get the true gist of real solutions for real problems using repurposed drugs. I mean, repurposed drugs. I mean, there are so many repurposed drugs out there that are being thrown to the side because they're not making big pharma money. Right? Doesn't mean they're not effective. It just means they're not making their money off of them, so they don't want us to use them. But when you look at some of the things that we're doing, it's crazy. And I've never been in this space before. As a physician, as a regular allopathic, gone to residency, worked in the ER for 13 years, did some hospital medicine. We weren't told any of this stuff. It wasn't until we started having conversations. Hey, how are you treating this? What are you seeing here? What are you seeing there? What are the best uses? What are the mechanisms of action? And we start bouncing ideas off of each other, and we got the best treatment for the solution that we needed, which was COVID-19. And man, we came up with an array, an arsenal to handle that disease. And if my patients got treated before day 7, we had 100% success rate, 100%. And I'm talking people who were taken out of the hospital, driven to my clinic with pulse oxes in the 80s, low 80s, on oxygen. Okay. We treated them, and 3 days later, they're off oxygen and they're walking around. It was insanely wild. But that never would have happened had we not had the network we had.
Right, exactly. So the silver lining is the independent thinking doctors found each other, and we had better solutions. And we said, we're not going to let this just die on the vine after COVID. We saw that we can't work with the system. The system is actually killing people. It's absolutely killing people. Go home, you're not nearly dead. Come back when you're nearly dead. What? Yeah. I mean, it was just crazy. So
yeah. They told family members of mine that exact thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Come back when your lips turn blue. Come back when your lips turn blue.
Right.
I mean, horse shit like that. You're going, what? And then I've got friends that their parents were told to go back home and come back when your lips turn blue. And when they brought them back, they shot them full of remdesivir, stuck a tube down their throat, and they died in solitary confinement in hospital rooms. I want the American people watching this right now. You remember what they did to us. They forced our relatives to die in solitary confinement. They shot them full of poison. They disallowed them to have medications that would have saved their lives. They forced us like cattle, like livestock, into a slaughterhouse. That is what they did. Now, Dr. Gold won't talk that hard, but I will. That is actually what they did. And it's true. We all do. And I hope someday all these homicidal people are held to account, because that's what it was. That was homicidal medical malpractice. That was on purpose. These are multiple PhDs that knew exactly what they were doing. And they corralled us, and they ran us and our family members right through a meat grinder. So I'm angry about it. Yes, I am. And so is America, Dr. Gold. America is angry about it. And I guarantee you, everybody watching this live stream, that's why I keep telling you to hit repost. Hit repost. You ain't going to hear this conversation anywhere else on the internet right now. Hit repost. What you've done, Dr. Gold, as Dr. Tyson was just saying, you have assembled a 360 representation of healthcare. 360. I mean, when I go on your website, when I go on GoldCare.com and I want to look up a specific thing, I type in the word and here comes this whole rack of doctors. And I go, well, I'll read about the doctor. You know, I'm curious who they are. And I'll find one. I go, I like her. I like him. I'm booking that appointment, bang, and I hit it. And the very next day I'm talking to him. I mean, what you built, the only reason there's not 10 million people on GoldCare is just because they hadn't heard about it yet. Because guess what? Pretty much everybody's got $10 a month. I mean, if you're watching a live stream right now, you've got $10 a month.
Exactly.
I promise you. And parents especially, you know, these pediatricians, I know there's a lot of parents watching right now. Have you gone to your pediatrician for your kid's wellness visit and they are still pushing the COVID vaccine on your kid? Yes, they are, because I just heard it myself not that long ago. I mean, they're still pushing it. And so they're not going to tell you the truth. You're going to be going, man, what am I supposed to do?
Right.
And that's a really good question. I was in the same boat until I ran into this lady right here, Dr. Gold.
So so we're going to pick it up in a moment with deprescribing, which is what you touched on, John Rich. In fact, you didn't touch on it. You really explained it. There's this concept in medicine that Dr. Tyson knows, and I know, and everybody in GoldCare knows, which is deprescribing, which is getting you off your prescription medicines, which is actually what John Rich experienced. So we're going to pick that up in a moment. I just want to turn it back to Drew for a moment, and then we'll be right back with telling you more about deprescribing.
Thank you, Dr. Gold. Yes, deprescribing is I think, one of the best parts of GoldCare. When you join GoldCare, you have access to so many great things. John pointed a few of them out. Dr. Tyson's talked about a few of them. I just want to remind everyone tonight that this is how you take back control of your sovereignty and your freedom. You need to join like-minded communities like GoldCare. So much so that if you go to goldcare.com/JohnRich, he's taking care of your first month for you. So you don't even really have to pay that $10 or $20 for the first month. You just get to come try us out, check it out, see what you like about it, and stick around, because we know you're going to love what you get. So right back to you, Dr. Gold. Let's carry on this conversation.
The thing is that really frustrates me is that patients don't even know what they don't know. You know that expression, like, you don't know what you don't know? Like, you don't even know. So there you are. John Rich is a smart guy, really smart. By the way, I watched you years ago on Celebrity Apprentice. I was very impressed with how bright you were. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like a really bright guy. So there's this really bright guy, and, you know, his doctor told him in his 20s, take this pill, and he's like dutifully taking the pill, right? Like, he doesn't even know that there might be a question about the pill. So Dr. Tyson, myself, all the people at GoldCare were very frustrated that the member, the patient, is not actually being told what the full story is. And we, by the way, don't actually make the decision for you. You may decide, I want to stay on statins. I believe in it. There you go. But you should be told, I don't think so, but you should be told the whole story. That's what freedom is. You should be told the whole story. Last time, I bet you 30% of people listening tonight are on a statin. Like, so many of you. For example, were you told the side effects? I mean, Dr. Tyson, I mean, obviously you prescribe statins. I prescribe statins, of course. But did we really ever sit and explain statins to people? And before you mention that, just one more thing. There's a concept in medicine called polypharmacy. Polypharmacy, big fancy word, right? Poly means many, pharmacy is drugs. So what I noticed as an ER doctor is that starting in 40s, when people are in their 40s, they are on average 3 medicines. And in their 50s, it's up to about 5 medicines. It's unbelievable. This is called polypharmacy. Polypharmacy is actually really bad for you. Lots of side effects, lots of interactions. You don't really ever get better. You're just kind of popping pills. It's called polypharmacy. You know who isn't on polypharmacy? People who don't have legacy health insurance, people who have independent doctors, people who have doctors who tell them the truth. So Dr. Tyson, what say you? You know, polypharmacy, deprescribing, you know, statins. Do statins have side effects? Do doctors even have time to tell patients the side effects? You know, the way the system works.
Yeah. So I mean, your concept is right on, which is in residency, we see a patient, we come back, we say, okay, this is what's going on with the patient. And the first thing your attending says is, okay, well, you can use this medicine, or this medicine, right? It's automatically medicine driven. There's no such thing as, well, maybe try this diet, maybe send them to physical therapy, maybe, you know, let's get an x-ray, let's really see what's going on with their shoulder. It's this medication, right? True story, and this is my mom's story, and I know my mom's is watching right now, so I know she'll be okay with me telling this story. But she was diagnosed with a thyroid problem in her early 20s. They gave her the radiation therapy to ablate her thyroid. Well, because her TSH was normal and they never bothered to look at the thyroid afterwards, she went for years without her thyroid being properly treated. When she started getting all the side effects from her low thyroid, they gave her antidepressants, they gave her medications, they gave her all sorts of psychiatric drugs. I mean, it was making her so sick that she couldn't even function in life. I went and saw her one day, and I mean, my mom is like 5'1", and she's like as Italian as it gets, right? So she's loud, she's obnoxious. That's how you know she's kicking, right? When I walk in the house, and she was like 90 pounds, and she was frail, and she was not talking. I'm like, Mom, what's going on? So I'm like, no, we're taking you off all of these medications, right? We took her off all of her medications. I went and got her a thyroid scan. She had this huge goiter all the way down into her chest. So we started her on a natural thyroid, Armor thyroid, and we got her, even though her TSH levels were normal, we got enough of that back in her by 3 months later, and I added a little bit of prednisone. Um, she had gained back her weight, she gained back her color, and she gained back her boisterous self. But I mean, it was, appointment after appointment where they just dismissed her as, oh, just a psych patient. This is just a psych patient. No, no, she's just crazy. She's just crazy. She's just crazy. She's on antidepressants. She's on anti-anxiety medications. They just give her a sleeping pill, give her this, give her that. There's nothing wrong with her. No, there was plenty wrong with her. But this drug didn't work, that drug didn't work, this drug didn't work, and it was just pile on the drugs to the point she got so sick. I'm like, no, we had to get her off. Once we got her off, now she's doing just fine. She takes her little thyroid pill a day. That's it, and a little bit of prednisone when she gets a little muscle flare up here and there, and that's all she takes. That's it.
So what's interesting is I didn't know the story, just for everybody who's watching. I didn't know the story about Dr. Tyson's mom, but the 3 categories of meds that are most prescribed in our country that have huge profit potential are actually the antidepressants, blood pressure medicines, and statins, right? Oh, I'm sorry. And also the PPIs, which John has maybe a story with that too. So PPIs are the proton pump inhibitors, and they give them for reflux disease, right? And then there's the statins and there's the antidepressants. These drugs, I wrote the numbers down, but it doesn't really matter. Basically, these are multi-billion-dollar per year just in America. And America typically accounts for 40 to 50% of the prescriptions written in the world, even though we're about 4% of the world population. I think we're about 4%. So it is a multi-billion-dollar industry in all of these, in the statin industry, in the antidepressant industry, and in the PPI industry. So in case you're feeling stupid, like you're sitting at home and you're like, gosh, I'm on meds and I never even thought to ask my doctor. You literally are sitting here with 2 very smart people. Here's a doctor whose own mother was a victim of polypharmacy and they didn't know it. And then you have this other very smart guy, John Rich, who also didn't know it. So what I'm saying is you don't know what you don't know, and you need an honest advisor to talk to you and to tell you the truth. I don't know, John, for me, this is a super interesting conversation. I don't know if you want to talk about the PPIs or just tyranny of business.
Yeah, I mean,
or whatever.
Yeah, I was taking those too. I mean, the same doctor that put me on a statin at 23 put me on Nexium at 23, and I stayed on both of those till I was literally right at 50 years old. And then I start reading reports about the long-term side effects of Nexium and of statin, and I went, what? I mean, I couldn't believe it. I went, that is serious business. The long-term side effects of that, like early onset dementia is one of the things. I'm like, from a heartburn medication? What are you talking about? And I read one study after another, and that's what got me going. And I called you and went, do you have doctors that can tell me about specific medicines? I said, I'm not sick, but I'm on some stuff that I've been on for decades. And you went, yeah, I do. Yeah. Go on the website and look them up. That's what I did.
And I want to say, I remember when you asked me about that, and I remember thinking in my head, this is why I loved GoldCare, because every individual matters. So you take John Rich, who's a singer, right? So he really can't afford to get reflux and affecting his vocal cord and all of that. So we look at every patient's situation, right? So it's not just like a simple yes or simple no, one size fits all for everybody. But he'd been on the medicine, and I wasn't your treating doctor, but he'd been on the medicine for 25, 30 years. And the question is, does he actually need the medicine? I want people to get to that question with their doctor. And I want their doctor to have enough time and enough respect for you as an individual to answer your questions and also to know the content. And the other half of this is the naturopathic component, right? Because there's a lot of things that are being treated with prescriptions that don't need prescriptions, that either need a natural component or maybe just something entirely different, faith, spirituality, advice. Anyway, there's things other than a quick prescription, which is how Dr. Tyson says really is how we're trained, is to just write prescriptions, right? That's our model. That's our financial model in America. You get 5 minutes with the doctor. So it's way quicker to write a prescription than to actually talk to a patient. I don't know. Either of you have anything to jump in on that?
No, I just, one of the things in our practice, which I've always said, and I tell my staff is, do the right thing and money will follow, right? Do the right thing though. We're not looking at what's the most profitable, what's the most beneficial. We use scribes in our practice for that particular reason, that the scribes can do the notes so the provider can spend time with the patient. And to me, that's one of the biggest things. I can't stand these electronic medical records. I like the days of just having a chart where I could write a few things down and put it in the chart.
Exactly.
Right. So when they, mandated us to we have to do medical records in order to get billing and all that stuff, I hire a scribe. They're there with me. They take down the notes. They write it in the chart. They do all the typing. They do all of that stuff. So I can spend time with the patient. So I can talk, I can analyze, I can ask questions, I can examine, we can discuss things, we can have a conversation over, what treatments are best or what maybe not, or, do you want to try not having any treatment? Let's try this for a few days and let's see. You can always call me back and we can work that out. To me, that's the most important thing.
So we actually went a step further than what Dr. Tyson does in his practice, which is we actually made the charting unbelievably simple and easy. So when you're sitting and talking with the doctor, you're sitting and talking with the doctor, because we've made the burden, the scribing burden on the doctor as minimal as possible, because we don't say to the government, oh, we have to do it your way, which is requiring books of nonsense written instead of actually talking to the patient, because that's a really big issue. It's also psychologically, it's a very distancing issue between the doctor and the patient. The doctor's always just basically doing a checklist and all of that. And I want to emphasize that we really want you to get well. And that's, again, why we took July and we said, you know what? It's basically on us. I mean, John Rich is sponsoring you for your subscription for the month. You're going to love it. People who come with us, they always stay with us. And then if you want to make an appointment with the doctor, it's literally 50% off. Literally, we're not making really any money on it, because we want to show you a better way. Back to you, Drew.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gold. Yes, that is exactly right. It's goldcare.com/John Rich. You can click the link right there in the title of this town hall where you're watching it on your live stream. We've got so much more information to share with you. GoldCare's got so much to offer you. We ask that you come join us, come check us out, and let us show you exactly how we can help you get back on track with your healthcare. Back to you.
So I just want to talk, I'm going to talk for about 2 minutes now, because I want to explain what GoldCare is to people, because sometimes people just say, hey, what is GoldCare? And I think it's because what we do is so different. It's a little bit hard for people to wrap their head around it. So I sometimes like to explain that we are essentially your gateway to medical freedom. Pretty much any medical question you have, the answer is yes, we can help you. First, what you do is you become a member for a very nominal fee. You've literally heard it's $10, $20 for the family, and John Rich is buying your first month, quite frankly. So it's very nominal. Then you'll see that we have two parts. We have information, all this information. It's all our video library on demand. We have classes, we have lectures, we have all of that. We have written materials. It's just, that's Wellness U. Tons of classes, tons of information given to you by unbiased independent doctors like Dr. Tyson. Although Dr. Tyson, you haven't done a lecture for us yet, but we have amazing doctors giving talks. And that's the Wellness U side. It's really amazing. Then sometimes you need to see a doctor. We hope it's rare. Actually, our mission is that you shouldn't see a doctor that often, but sometimes you do need to see a doctor. And of course, we want you to have access to quality, independent, unbiased doctors who are just there to help you. So that's the clinical side. That's the make the appointment side. So there's information and then there's access. So if you have a medical question, we've got an answer. Let's say you have a question about your own health, like should I be on this medicine? Or maybe you have a question about a medical topic in the news. Remember when they tried to scare people a few months ago about measles or bird flu, or next time we disease X? We've got answers for things like that. People ask us, like, do you take Medicare? Do you take insurance? I have no insurance. Like, what's the deal with that? I'm like, yes. The answer is always yes. Come be a member and we will teach you. We will explain. We will teach you everything you need to know. So I just wanted you to know that you shouldn't think about it too hard. Just join us. If you're listening, you're one of us. We built it for you. We built it for you. That's all I can say, is that the doctors who stood strong during COVID don't want to see this happen to you again. And we invite you to come join us. We can't make it any simpler than just click on the link. So I want to ask John, Rich, the next question. And let me start by saying that people all over the world, and with that kind of recognition, and let's face it, star power, everyone assumes you should have already had access. It's a little bit personal, I guess. You should have already had access to the best information, best doctors. But I knew the dirty little secret of healthcare, that you can be a freaking billionaire. And it doesn't mean you're getting good advice. I have a lot of very wealthy friends, and it doesn't matter. The system is not really rigged to give you the advice. Sometimes you get good advice, but it's not really built to do that. That's just simply not how it works. So my question is, in a way, it's like unbelievable. Like, you're this like guy right up here, right? And then even in your case, you still weren't getting exactly what you needed. That's astonishing in America, right? If you wanted to buy a Maserati or a Lamborghini, you could have done it. How come you couldn't do that in the medical space?
Yeah, they don't say to a guy like me, hey, you just had a #1 song in country music. So you know what? Here's what we're going to do for you, John, here today at the doctor's office. We're going to tell you the truth. Congratulations on the #1. If it was only top 10, it might tell you half the truth. No, they will tell you whatever it is their overlords are telling them to tell you, whatever their kickback people on whatever drugs they're prescribing that week tell them to tell you. That's exactly how it works. One thing I wanted to add to when you were just explaining how GoldCare works, I have yet to wait more than 24 hours to get online with a doctor when I booked an appointment, and neither has my wife. Because one problem you see right now, and I bet a lot of people watching right now, especially if your kids get sick, when school kicks back in and kids start getting sick, and you call the doctor and they're like, we can't see you until Friday and it's Monday or Tuesday. You can go on GoldCare and go bank and hit the thing and go, this is important, ASAP. And somebody will email you back and go, what are you doing tomorrow at 9 a.m.? You're like, I'm going to be talking to you. And then there you go. And then the other thing is GoldCare doctors, thanks to you, Dr. Gold, GoldCare doctors know which pharmacies are under the thumb of Big Pharma and which pharmacies aren't. Which pharmacies will actually fill a prescription of, for instance, ivermectin or hydroxychloroquine or whatever else is going on. They actually know where those pharmacies are too. You may have to drive an extra 25 or 30 minutes to get to it, but you can get to it and they'll call it in and they'll fill it. If GoldCare had have existed prior to 2020, can you imagine how many people would still be alive right now if they'd have known about this and been a part of this program? I think about like grandparents, you're looking after your mom or your dad, they're older. They're like, I don't want to go to the doctor. I don't want to go to the doctor, but something is definitely wrong with them. And you can set an appointment, go sit down with them, put them right here in front of the laptop, get on with the doctor and say, hey, here's what dad's going through right now. And the doctor will go, well, Mr. Rich, so tell me about this, tell me about that. You can sit there and have that meeting and he'll talk because he didn't have to leave the house. And he'll talk to them and they'll go, you know what? Let's try this. Let's try that. And you're getting some answers. A lot of people, Dr. Gold, just feel trapped. They just feel like I've got to wait days and days. And when I do get in there, they're going to tell me all the nonsense, these stupid commercials I see on TV every 5 minutes. They're going to tell me to take one of those dumb drugs to try to fix my problem. And I don't want to do that either. And what's the point? What's the point in going to the doctor? Right. And so this platform, I just cannot rave about it enough. When you can file through, I don't even know how many doctors you have now on GoldCare. It's a lot. And I can file through them based on their expertise and then read their bios and then click on their name and an email goes to them. And I say, hey, Dr. Jones, I'd like to talk to you tomorrow as soon as you can, because I've got this problem or whatever. You get an email right back to go, great, I'll talk to you tomorrow at 11 o'clock. And then you get your questions written down, you fire them off, and you get answers back, and you go, okay, I'll see you later. Bye. And you close your computer.
The
I mean,
doctor,
seriously,
yeah,
it's mind-boggling that you built something that easy to use.
so people sometimes forget that I'm a lawyer as well as a doctor, and I never understood why doctors were allowing medicine to be practiced the way it was practiced. And I would compare it to a lawyer, and I noticed it, if I'm being blunt, the problem, I noticed it more for wealthy people, because wealthy people would never tolerate with their lawyers what they're tolerating with their doctors, right? So they go to a lawyer and they pay the lawyer, and the lawyer works for them and is available to them and is answering their questions. And you're not really wondering if the lawyer is biased and giving you a line of untruth. Maybe he's good, maybe he's not good, but you're not really worried that he's biased in one particular direction, that somebody else is paying him. And then I looked at medicine and I'm like, how is it possible that no matter how much money you have, you actually really can't get a straight answer from people? And I'm so glad you brought up about the pharmacy. We worked very hard to pull out the pharmacists and the pharmacies that will serve you and will treat you. And we take it even a step further. And one of the things I just have to rave about, and Dr. Tyson, I'm not sure if you're even that familiar with this. So we have med packs because I want all people to be pre-armed with what they need. What we saw during COVID, you couldn't find righteous doctors. Well, okay, you can now find them on GoldCare, but you sometimes had trouble getting pharmacies to give you what the doctor ordered. So we don't even want you to even worry about it. We want to flip everything. I want you to have in your medicine cabinet what you need. We tell you about it. We explain the medicines to you on that visit. But then if you get sick, we want you to come back and talk to us again and find out, do you need the antibiotic? Do you need the prednisone? Do you need the inhaler? But this way, there's no delay. And there's also no hidden potential bias either to prescribe or not to prescribe. We prescribe if you need it. But this way you're set, ready to go. And we want you to have that in your home right now. We've made it incredibly easy. Have you taken advantage of that ever? I don't know if you've done that yet, John Rich, but it's fantastic.
Well, I have. I mean,
no, I have.
I'm a GoldCare member too. So is our family.
No, I have.
And yeah, we take advantage of that all the time. And I tell my patients, I tell my friends, I tell my family the same thing, which is, these are a list of medications you should have in your cabinet. In the event you need them, they're there. Because one of the things that got me really fired up about COVID, and this is another story, and this is kind of what started, and this was part of my book, and what started this whole thing was, you're in the music industry, John. So my daughter was in the music industry as well. She was 16. She was a high profile teen out of Hollywood. She was doing EDM. She had a big song with Danik. She was touring. She did ADE in Amsterdam. And she was getting ready to sign her deal with Sony in New York in 2020. So March of 2020, we were supposed to go out to New York, meet her manager, meet with Sony, and he got COVID. And we couldn't get him the medications because in New York, they put a clamp on it.
Yep.
The access was only inpatient. You weren't allowed to get it in the pharmacy. We tried to get him the medication, and he ended up in the hospital and being one of those patients who got put on a ventilator, got remdesivir, and that was the last we ever heard of him.
Oh, my.
That was tragic. That was tragic. It was tragic for us to go through. It was tragic for my daughter to go through. When her career was just getting ready to take off, everything got shut down. It was just a really bad time and a really bad feeling to know we had treatment, but he couldn't even get the treatment. That's what's important about what Simone is saying. Have this in your cabinet, ready to go. In the event you need it, you're not having to worry about whether the government's going to confiscate it or stockpile it or make it limited use availability. That's a very, very important point to make.
I want to give a shout out to Dr. Atkinson, who's our chief medical officer. I want everyone to know we went through the decision of what's in the med pack very, very carefully for the best quality, the stuff we know you should have. We also priced it as effectively as possible for you. Like, we're keeping everything in mind. And a big shout out, because that took several months for us to put together exactly the right pack for you. And I want to kind of finish with John Rich, because such a freedom guy. I think of freedom, like in the medical space, that it's knowledge plus access, right? Like if you have access, but you don't know what to ask, it's no good. Like you had access, you had doctors, but you didn't even know. And then the other half of it is do you even know what to ask? So it's like, for me, it's knowledge plus access equals freedom, which equals medical freedom. And just some final words on that.
No, I think that's spot on. I mean, I would just go back real quick. I'm about to take my family on our big summer family vacation. We'll go somewhere cool every year. We're about to go to Alaska for a couple of weeks. So guess what's going to travel along with me and my wife in our suitcase? Our med packs.
Oh, good.
Why? Because we're going to be out in the middle of nowhere. And if somebody comes down with, some horrible, sinus infection or something's going on, I'll get on GoldCare and I'll say, hey, my son's got these symptoms. We've got the med pack. What do you think we ought to do? And they may say Z-Pack, or they'll say whatever they say that's in that med pack, and you can take care of your family. I mean, it's the most simple thing to think about. I just think Americans have never known this was even an option, that it would ever possibly even work this way. And if it did, you probably got to pay some doctor $2,000 a year to have a private doctor, that would come to your house and answer your phone call. And here you guys are sitting, not one doctor, hundreds of doctors that are experts in all kinds of things for 10 or 20 bucks a month. I grew up in a trailer in Texas. I have a high school diploma. We were month to month paycheck people. I cut my Achilles tendon in half when I was 13 years old. We had no way to pay for it. No doctor. I still have a problem with my left Achilles tendon. It took forever for us to get anybody to look at any of us because we were poor. But we could have afforded 10 or 20 bucks a month. Even back then, we could have done that. 4 kids and a mom and dad. Absolutely. My dad would have had that $20 bill to make sure that happened. So there's a lot of people watching right now. I'm looking at the live stream. There's 36,000 people currently watching this. Dr. Gold, I might have to ask your tech guy, but I believe this live stream stays here on X where people can watch it. Is that accurate?
Yes. And
Good.
You have to watch and rewatch and rewatch and repost. This is life-saving information.
Yeah, this really is. It's really important. And I just want to thank all of my followers for jumping in and repost this. Even after we're done, go back and watch the first part if you missed it. There is some critical information here that every American needs to know about.
I just have to jump in. A couple things that you said that, wow. So you're going to Alaska. So John Rich is going to Alaska and he's prepared. And I'm going to blow your mind, John. So God forbid something happens. We literally have doctors in Alaska. And then you can have a state doctor. Let's say something happens, right? Now you're going prepared. You're going with your med pack, which, by the way, can help you if there's a cat bite or a dog bite, but probably a bear bite, you're going to need more help than we can do with med pack. So be careful with the bears. But I mean, we have every state covered. And I'm going to say something personal here. I had a lot of opportunities after I became well-known. One of the opportunities that was really pushed at me was to just do my own concierge practice, right? Nothing wrong with that. It's perfectly honorable to take care of people for a high fee. No problem. I'm not dissing it at all. But where my heart was that everybody should be able to have access, because I'm offended that the average person is not being given the truth. That is really what motivates me. That is why we price ourselves for everyone, for rich, for poor, in the middle, everyone. There's no excuse. The problem is, if the next disease comes around and you're not a member, right, you're kind of out of luck, because like what happened during COVID is the doctors were overwhelmed. So you've got to come and join us now. And I'm just, it's just been a passion.
It's easy to join. I mean, you click that link that's in this, everybody's watching this live stream, that little link right at the top. When this is over, just click that and you'll go, oh, and in about 3 minutes, you're in. You got your information in. And then you know what's going to happen next, folks? You're going to start thinking about that nagging question you've had about that one medicine you've been on forever. Or should I really be taking that vitamin? Or I heard that combo of vitamins might be good. I heard D3 and K2 put together in certain increments might be really good, but no, my doctor won't tell me if that's true or not. All of a sudden, questions like that will start rolling, or you'll wonder about something with your kid. What's really going on with my kid? Like, this is the medicine they're giving him is not working. And then you're going to go on GoldCare and you're going to look at those doctors and find the one that makes sense. And you're going to set an appointment and boom, you're going to have answers. I'm telling you, it's going to change your life.
Everyone needs to be free from medical coercion, medical tyranny. You need information and you need access. You need information and you need access, and it should be at a fair price. That's what America's all about. We're all children of God, right? Nobody should be denied life-saving information. And that's what we want to bring to you. We don't want you to live in fear. We want to bring you the answers, bring you the information, bring you the access. We've really solved all of these problems for you. That expression, if you build it, they will come. We have built it. The people that are behind GoldCare are so passionate about what we're doing. We are so passionate about keeping you well. We have an insane offer for you. I mean, what can I tell you? John Rich is sponsoring your first month, and GoldCare is giving you doctor visits should you need a doctor visit. By the way, I encourage people to have a doctor visit, even if you don't think you need a doctor visit. The reason is, I don't know that what you've been told so far has been accurate, and let's just run it down and let's just see. So we're really doing it at cost. You're getting 50% off because we want to show you that there's a better way. There's a better way. Dr. Tyson, any final thoughts before I turn it back to Drew?
No, I just think we're revolutionizing healthcare to make it patient-centered, truly patient-centered again. We got to take the corporate medicine out, and we need to get back to health care. And I say that very specifically. You know, GoldCare is healthcare. Regular medicine has gone to corporate practice of medicine, and we need to get away from the corporate practice of medicine and get back into GoldCare, which is real health care delivered by the patient's wants, needs, desires, and inquiries into the information that they're looking for. It is evidence-based. So, you know, anything that you're being told, there's plenty of links, there's plenty of citations, so you can read it for yourself. You know, we're not, you know, just making stuff up as we go. Very educated, very well studied, and the amount of information compiled under one platform with the access to the people you have access to. I'm super excited about the whole vision.
I want to thank both of you for joining us. I mean, you're different. You know, you come from the music space, you come from the physician space, but you're both diehard patriots, as I consider myself. We are working towards making a better America. I urge everybody listening to follow the advice of John Rich and just click. There's no reason not to. Your life could be saved. Your life could be improved, like Dr. Tyson's mom, your life and John Rich's own situation. We have information on vaccines. That's a huge issue to people. We talk about the repurposed medicines for cancer. We have these town halls on all these subjects that you are interested in. If you're listening, you're interested in the subjects that we have. So I want to invite everyone to come join. Click on the link, come join. It will never be a better price than now. And I turn it back to Drew.
Thank you to our great speakers tonight, John Rich, Dr. Tyson, and Dr. Gold. You know, healthy debate is key to effective healthcare. And if we learned anything from COVID, it's that we must recognize and reject the fear, the propaganda, and the downright censorship designed to keep us silent. These GoldCare medical town halls give Americans a platform to make their declaration of medical independence. And that's why it's so important to join and participate. We have Wellness U, our educational library, which is full of accurate, uncensored, and woke-free information to help you answer your questions. And if you need a doctor who can help you or a loved one with a vaccine injury or any sort of medical need, GoldCare is the perfect place to find them. We made it so easy. John Rich, Dr. Gold, you know, Dr. Tyson, they've all said it over and over again. You just have to click the link in the title in the stream, goldcare.com/JohnRich, and get your first month on John. Think of it like Netflix or Amazon Prime, but instead of a woke movie or free shipping, you're getting the gold standard educational subscription for all of your healthcare needs and access to doctors you can actually trust. Don't forget, this month we're offering 50% off all of our provider appointments, giving you the best and most cost-effective way to get established with a GoldCare provider. We don't profit off of your pain. Thank you for being with us tonight, and we'll see you at the next GoldCare Medical Town Hall. Good night.
Do you feel like the healthcare system is failing you? That's because it is, working exactly as intended to prioritize profits, bureaucracy, and big pharma, while leaving you and your family vulnerable when you need care the most. We understand your frustration. You've been asked to trust a system that feels rushed, impersonal, and biased. You deserve better. That's why we created GoldCare. Here, your values matter, your choices matter, and most importantly, you matter. GoldCare is more than a solution. It's a revolution. Trusted by over 10,000 members nationwide, we've built a system that puts your wellness first. With ethical, independent doctors who work for you, not the system, you'll have access to care that's transparent, trustworthy, and aligned with your values. We understand that stepping away from the familiar can feel daunting, but staying in a system that doesn't truly serve you is even harder. That's why GoldCare offers a healthcare alternative designed to work for you. Whether you're ready to step away from the system entirely or prefer to keep your insurance while seeking the transparent care, ethical doctors, and education you deserve, it's time to stop trusting a system that's failed you. Take control of your health with GoldCare. Join today for just $10 a month and become part of the healthcare revolution. GoldCare, built for you, powered by freedom, trusted by thousands.